Product provided by Nintendo, specifically Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. My throat is so sore it feels like I swallowed a Monado sideways. Hello, everybody. It's your boy Jmulls, and today we're going to engage in a bit of mindless speculation of epic, and I mean epic proportions. It's almost February, people, and you know Nintendo Direct rumors are flowing like a river. And we have some NatetheHate predictions, and also some conversation that is circulating the community yet again. So let's get into this, shall we? Wait, Xenoblade 2? So NatetheHate, you may know him, made some predictions for Switch 2 first-party entries for the year 2026. They include things like a Zelda remaster or remake, significant Mario Kart World DLC, 3D Mario big holiday release, and look at this little bad boy here. Something we have talked about quite a bit on this channel, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition. Now, I am not here to talk about the veracity of this prediction, whether or not it's based in anything, how reliable NatetheHate is or not, because bear in mind, this doesn't say report or leak, it's just a prediction. I mainly want to use this as a jumping off point to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition. Hit my mic there again, sorry. Because conversation for this has kind of heated up recently, and I'm not sold on it for a couple of things. Now, why is that? Oh, by the way, I'll leave a link in the description down below to NatetheHate's video right here. But why am I not sold on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition? There's a couple of main reasons, but before we get into that, I just want to preface everything by saying there's a giant asterisk for everything I'm about to talk about. And also, I hope I'm wrong. Like, this isn't the case of, hey guys, I know more than you, like, or anything like that. It's just pattern recognition, but I really hope I'm wrong about this because I love Xenoblade 2 so much, right? I'll talk about the asterisk after this section though. But the reason I'm not sold on it being Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition next is because theoretically it would break the pattern. What's the pattern? There is a cycle for Xenoblade games. The cycle is they put out a numbered game, then they put out two other things, and then they do another numbered game. Xenoblade Chronicles 1, then we had the 3DS version and Xenoblade Chronicles X. I'm not sure if in that order, but then after that we had Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Then we had Torn of the Golden Country and Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Then we had Xenoblade 3. Now we have had Future Redeemed and Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, product provided by Nintendo. So going off of that, theoretically, it should be the next numbered game. And I've held to that idea for a while now, but I'm starting to become no longer sold on it for a very simple reason. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is a mainline entry. Definitive Edition solidified that. I no longer call, or at least no longer try to call Xenoblade Chronicles a trilogy, because I view it to be a quadrilogy, a tetralogy, whatever you want to call it. Because Xenoblade Chronicles X is just as important and relevant to the overarching plot as 1, 2, and 3. It just is. And with that, then when you think about it, they kind of already broke protocol, because the original version of Xenoblade Chronicles could have been viewed as a spin-off because it was largely treated as such. But with Definitive Edition solidifying it as a mainline entry, well, then we had Xenoblade Chronicles 3, then we just had Future Redeemed, and then we have another mainline entry with Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition and Chapter 13. And going off of that, then it is entirely possible they do something else that isn't a new mainline entry for the next main release. And I've been predicting that we will get Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition, just I thought it would be after the next mainline entry. But the more I think about it, we kind of just got the next mainline entry. That was X. And then I think on it some more. The next Xenoblade game is almost certainly going to be available on the Switch 2. They might pull a Metroid Prime 4 and have it released on both the original Switch and also the Switch 2, but it's almost certainly coming for the Switch 2. And I could see a world that exists where Monolith just simply needs more time because of like the Switch 2 and all that. They just need more time to develop for it. So they go, okay, let's do a smaller entry just to dip our toes into the Switch 2, just get something out the door while it gives us more time to work with this more powerful hardware and make a game for that. Granted, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 originally came out in the release year of the Switch, granted, but you know, times simply change. And we know development for like games has gotten to ludicrous amounts of investment and time, and Xenoblade may not necessarily be like GTA 6 levels when it comes to that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was affected by that to some degree. Or maybe the scope and scale and the style of game that Xenoblade 4, whatever it ends up being is going to be, is just different, and they just simply need more time to adjust. There's any number of reasons for that, right? And I've talked about them almost certainly doing a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition at some point, because like you did 1 and X. 2 is the one that has sold the most. It is the one that has done the best sales-wise for Xenoblade. Even to this day, with the numbers that we have, it's still 2 reigning supreme, and it's not particularly close, relatively speaking. As a company, of course you're going to revisit that title. It just makes business sense. So if Monolith's rationale is, okay guys, look, we need more time for either this new IP, we'll talk about that in the next section, or for Xenoblade 4, we just simply need more time for that. Let's do the thing that we are almost certainly always going to do, which is Xenoblade 2. I love Xenoblade 2. It's one of my favorite games of all time. However, I do have a laundry list of complaints and issues and critiques for that game that I don't think I'm alone on. Things like field skills, things like those mobile game mission things, graphical fidelity, performance, load times, the gacha system. There's so many things with a definitive edition that you could revisit and maybe not necessarily remove wholesale, but revise significantly to smooth out a lot of those valleys and to highlight the peaks that the game really has. Because I'm a firm believer, lover, and advocate for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. If you know me and you know my channel, you know how much I just love this game. And I think a definitive edition for Xenoblade 2 could do so much good for it. Does its existence mean that the original version of Xenoblade 2 is a terrible game or anything like that? No. But if we're being fair and we're trying to be objective, there's a lot of things in the original that weren't up to snuff. And it's also an absolutely gorgeous game. Can you imagine this game with like upscaled graphics, better performance, and just some changes here and there? Let alone if they add actually new content like that sequel some people have been talking about, where it's like, oh, what if they do something like Future Connected but for Xenoblade 2? I don't really think it's needed, but like what if they do something like Metsu Blade, which to be fair I feel like is a pipe dream and more than anything, but still imagine how cool it would be for a new game plus for the game where it like swaps Pyra Mithra but also with Malus. It's like that would be so cool. There's a lot you can do with this. I think the biggest issue it would possibly run into is if it's largely just a performance increase, better graphics, better frame rate, maybe some slight modifications to some of the mechanics, and you just ship it out the door for 60 or 70 bucks, probably 60 because Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition was 60, and granted that only came out like last year, though I would imagine Xenoblade 2 Definitive Edition would be for the Switch 2, and like maybe their rationale would be, it's the Switch 2, so it's 70. Who knows, right? I highly doubt it would be 80. By the way, before it's like some people want to talk about that, I just don't think they would pull the gun on that for Xenoblade of all IP. I imagine they're like saving that for games that were 60. They have like a Switch 2 version, or for series like Mario Kart and stuff like that. I don't think they would pull the trigger on that for Xenoblade 2. Who knows though, right? I do think it would be a mistake though to simply ship it out the door with minimal changes besides like a performance increase and a resolution bump and have it charge full price. I think that would be a tough sell for quite a few people, especially since Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was not like Xenoblade 1 and X, where they were on older hardware that not everyone in the modern day has access to. Xenoblade 2 is still readily available. It's on the Switch. A lot of people have that hardware. If you're not bringing something new to the table that seems valuable, it could be a pretty tough sell for a lot of people, despite the fact that it is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Does that mean I wouldn't get it? No, but I'm not everyone. And just because I absolutely love Xenoblade doesn't mean I'm not going to call out a bad decision for what will almost certainly be a bad decision if Nintendo goes that route. Granted, I don't want to get too heated on this yet because, well, they haven't even announced Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition yet. We don't know if it's actually real or not. I don't want to get like too heated over a possible hypothetical on a game that may or may not exist at a price point that it may or may not actually be at. It's just, if it does go that route, then I do think that will be a problem. I still really want to see Switch 2 versions of Xenoblade 1, 2, 3, and X Definitive Edition to get them a resolution bump, and also a frame rate bump. I would love to see that in the interim before the next main release. I'm not sure they're actually going to do that because I don't know if they're going to view devoting resources to that would probably not make them that much money, whether or not that would be valuable enough for them as a business, right? Kind of the unfortunate thing we have to talk about when it comes to that situation. But I could see the business rationale in not doing it. Because, like, let's face it here, I don't think the vast majority of Xenoblade players are what you would probably call like a power gamer. I'm not even sure if like that's the right word or phrase, but just like frame rate and resolution isn't like one of the most important elements for deciding a game for them. It just kind of isn't. That's always been the case for like the lion's share of Nintendo games. I'm not saying whether that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's kind of the reality. So would I like to see Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition? Absolutely, yes. I love Xenoblade 2. I'd love to revisit it. Do I think it's likely? I think we'll get it at some point. I'm just not sure it'll be 2026. And if we do see it, then I'll be very interested to see what actually gets changed or added and also what the price point is. But now let's talk about the elephant in the room. According to some people, this new IP. So the new IP, for those who don't know, talk about this like new IP that Monolith is developing has been kind of sparking up lately, mainly because we're getting into a whole new console generation. So people are like, oh, Monolith are probably going to finally pull the trigger and come out with this IP that we've been hearing about since like 2017 or something like that, right? This medieval action game, right? I'm not fully sold on it because it's been so long. I'm not saying that it couldn't exist. I don't know. I'm just not going to sit on the edge of my seat waiting for something that we've been, I don't even know if hearing about is the right word. It's like Monolith haven't really talked about this thing to my knowledge since like a few images came out in like 2017. If they do end up making it, I'll be excited for it because Monolith is one of my favorite developers out there, and there's yet been a game that they have made that I have actually disliked. I love all of their games. Heck, I've been playing through Xenogears lately, and this is probably going to be either a top 6, top 5 game of all time for me. It's like, this game's been phenomenal. I played through the Xenosaga games within the last year or so. Those games are also phenomenal. Xenosaga Episode 3, I would put like neck and neck with Xenoblade X and Xenoblade 2 for me. I love these games. And if they want to try their hand at something different, something unique, and say, we've been doing Xeno for so long, even before just like Xenoblade with Xenosaga and Xenogears, let's try something new. Let's try something fresh. Just maybe for creativity's sake. And you know what? I'd be down for that. They have earned my benefit of the doubt. I don't think that would mean like the end of Xenoblade or anything like that. And it might be more similar to like a situation with like, let's say Atlas, right? How they do Shin Megami Tensei and also Persona, even though kind of ignore that Persona was originally a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei. Maybe now I can like think of it like Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, and also Metaphor. And Metaphor ReFantazio is also a phenomenal game. And if Monolith want to go in the direction of trying out a new IP and have a new pillar alongside Xenoblade, yeah, sure, that could be really dang cool. I'm not going to act as if it's confirmed or as if we should be expecting it though, until we see an actually like verifiable report or indication about it, or they just announce the freaking thing. I'm not gonna be at the edge of my seat waiting with bated breath for something that we've been hearing about for almost, dang, has it been like 9 years at this point? It's impossible to say for certain what Monolith are doing and what they're planning. We can have an educated guess, absolutely, but it's impossible to say for certain. I said it before as well, if they stick to the old schedule, then I wouldn't be surprised in seeing like a new mainline entry for Xenoblade Chronicles, or like at least the next big game for Xenoblade, like spring 2027. And I've been predicting we might see like the announcement at the September Direct. I'm not overly sold on the February Direct, but if we do see something there, then it would kind of indicate to me that either they want a longer marketing cycle for the next game, or they are breaking that formula. It's entirely possible, right? It's not like they've promised and swore across their heart, we're going to stick to this schedule. It just gives us like an educated guess as to what we can probably come to expect from them, but it's not like set in stone. So if we do get to this February Direct, which is being like rumored and like whispered hush hush that, oh, first week of February is when it's going to actually drop. If we get there and they announce something like a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition, first of all, you're going to be like deaf within 5 minutes from my nerd screams resonating across the globe. But also, that would be a good indication to me that we shouldn't probably rely on their previous cadence and their previous release schedule as much as we may think we can. It'll be interesting to see one way or the other. I'm not going to go into the February Direct where I'm like, they better have something Monolith here or it's do or die. I'm not going to go into the February Direct expecting something from Monolith, at least in a major capacity. If we see anything from them, cool. I'd be excited for it. But I don't want to like elevate my expectations to an unrealistic margin and expect to see something that maybe we shouldn't expect to see. But time will tell. So here's where you come in. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on what you expect to see out of this February Direct or what you want to see out of it. And also your thoughts on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Definitive Edition and this whole new IP thing. Love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And speaking of Xenoblade, guys, someone ranked the Xenoblade games. Needless to say, I disagree with their ranking. This is a fun one, people. And it gives us a chance to talk about some Xenoblade and all of them overall. And you know what? I'll take it. Want to find out more? Check out this video right here. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.